Hello, welcome to Civilization Jihad Awareness, the show where truth wins every time. Today, we have something hot off the presses, and we're going to get into that in just a few minutes. In fact, I was just sent this, not even an hour ago, by Leo Holman, and it's a new article, new report by the Middle East Forum, and we're going to get right into it. Wow. Hey, I'm not singing that song. I wish I was. But I love to sing, but that's not me singing. Okay. Going on. I want to tell you where this phrase civilization jihad comes from for those of you who are just tuning in for the first time. The phrase comes from a terminology created by the Muslim Brotherhood in 1991. This document that has been found and used in federal trials in the largest terror financing trial in the United States is very, very important. One particular paragraph stands out in this document. The document is called the Explanatory Memorandum, and I'm just going to read you one paragraph. So it says this: understanding the role of the Muslim Brotherhood in North America. The process of settlement is a civilization jihadist process. That means they're going to move in and they're going to take over. That's their goal. With all the word means, the Ikhwan must understand, the Ikhwan means brotherhood, that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands and the hands of the believers, so that it is eliminated and God's religion is made victorious over all other religions. Without this level of understanding, we are not up to this challenge and have not prepared ourselves for jihad yet. It is a Muslim's destiny to perform jihad and work wherever he is and wherever he lands until the final hour comes. And there is no escape from that destiny except for those who choose to slack. But would the slackers and the mujahideen be equal? We're going to get into more of this later at another time in the future. But I want to talk today about the Middle East Forum's big, hot off the presses release on none other than Islamic relief. And if you want to call in during my reading of pieces of this, please do. I found that this particular report was outstanding, as usual for Middle East Forum. Highly. People should get kudos for this. They should. People should call the Middle East Forum, write to them, call them, do anything, throw money at them for turning this report out. There's very little that I disagree with the Middle East Forum. And I will come out and say that they ranks right up really high with, I'd say, alongside the Investigative Project on Terrorism with this report today. Again, let me see if I can put the link really quickly in the chat room. This is the hot off the presses link. It just came out today, about an hour ago. In fact, while I was getting ready for the show, the Middle East Forum sent the release out. I got it just before the release. I got the link just before the release. And I feel really excited about this. Kudos to Leo Holman. I can't say enough about him. We're going to be reading one of his articles today on top of that. So kudos to Leo Holman. So let's get into what Islamic relief is really about. About the charity, the extremism, and terror. That's what the topic is. So in their introduction, I'm on page 3. I'm just going to read part of this. Islamic Relief is one of the largest Islamic charities in the world. Its officials have dined at the White House, mixed with European royalty, and enjoyed the financial support of governments across the world. Founded in 1984 by students in the British city of Bingham, the Islamic Relief franchise is today managed by global headquarters named Islamic Relief Worldwide, or IRW, which coordinates Islamic relief branches and representatives. Some partner offices, quote, partner offices, others ostensibly Australia, Belgium, Canada, Chechnya, Germany, Ireland, Italy, India, Kenya, Malaysia, Mauritius, Norway, South Africa, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United States, as well as 23 other countries in which Islamic Relief has, quote, independently registered implementing partners, most of which operate under the Islamic Relief name. The most recent figure available for Islamic Relief's income across its entire franchise was reported in 2014 as $240 million. Wow. A considerable portion of this revenue comes from the international bodies and Western governments, at least $80 million since 2007. Yet because of Islamic Relief's reported links to Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, Islamic Relief Worldwide is a designated terrorist entity in Israel and the United Arab Emirates. Both UBS and HSBC banks have closed Islamic Relief Bank accounts over concerns about terrorism financing. In Bangladesh, the government has banned Islamic Relief from providing aid to Rohingya Muslims over the fears about radicalization. And in America, federal investigators have reportedly built a criminal case against Islamic Relief. How has this happened? What is Islamic Relief, and why is this national taxpayer-funded charity so dangerous? Now, I'm just going to get into that. That's their introduction. If that isn't a teaser, wow. Let me just tell you, there is a lot happening here, and I'm not going to be able to read the entire 35-page report. Let me tell you, I'm going to be skimming through this, and what I missed, you guys got to go back and read. This is an outstanding piece. Yes. Okay, let's go on. Their next section is called From Birmingham to Cairo. And I do want to get into this because it's extremely important to know some of this background here. In July 2013, Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi was arrested by his own military following 5 days of protest by millions of Egyptians against the Muslim Brotherhood regime. A coalition of political and military officials led by General Abdel Fattah el-Sisi formed an interim government and announced new presidential elections. Along with Morsi, dozens of senior Muslim Brotherhood officials were arrested, including Assam al-Haddad. Keep that name in mind. That was Morsi's senior foreign policy advisor. Since the coup, Sisi has ruled Egypt, winning a presidential election in 2014. Although the new government is not itself a beacon of liberal values, the Egyptian people had clearly expressed their opposition to Islamist rule. 2 years after Morsi's arrest in June of 2015, an Egyptian court convicted the deposed Islamist leaders of terrorism offenses. Now, this part's real important. While the world media was preoccupied with the death sentence handed down to Morsi, little attention was paid to Assam al-Haddad, who was given a life sentence. Haddad is not, however, just a Muslim Brotherhood leader. He is also the co-founder of the global Islamic charity franchise, Islamic Relief, one of the largest Muslim charities in the world. From the charity's establishment in the British city of Birmingham in 1984 until 2012, Haddad served as one of the Islamic Relief's key officials. Haddad's rise and eventual fall is a tale of the influence wielded and danger posed by, quote, lawful Islamists. His story reveals the close involvement of Islamic Relief with the Muslim Brotherhood and the importance that the global Islamism places on the use of charitable fronts. Now, let's talk about what Islamism means before I go too far. Islamism is basically political Islam. If you believe that Islam should rule the world, you are an Islamist. If you believe that Sharia is what should rule the world, you are an Islamist. And that would make a huge percentage of Muslims Islamists. That's what they wish for us. And those who don't, They're rare. Let's go on a little bit farther here. I want to skip a little bit ahead because I don't want to read the entire thing. This would just take the entire time, and there's too many good news stories. Wow. While Haddad helped lead the I shouldn't say good news, some of the bad news. While Haddad helped lead the renewed Islamist push on the world stage, Islamic Relief claimed he was no longer part of the global charitable franchise at all. But after Morsi was deposed in 2013, reports in the Egyptian media, along with recently uncovered documents, revealed that Haddad was still closely involved with Islamic Relief after his resignation as a trust relief worldwide. Sisi's government and a number of Egyptian newspapers maintained that Islamic Relief, the beneficiary of millions of dollars of taxpayer money from across the Western world, was in fact financing the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood. In 2015, Haddad's lengthy trial and eventual conviction found him and his co-defendants guilty of passing defense secrets to elements of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard and collaborating with terrorist groups Hamas and Hezbollah to create a state of chaos in order to seize power in Egypt. Haddad was also accused, according to his family, of financing terrorism. Catch that. According to his own family, he was accused of financing terrorism by using global charities such as Islamic Relief. In 2014, the Egyptian newspaper Al-Yawm Al-Sabi uncovered documents revealing Islamic Relief's operations in Egypt. The documents, stamped with Islamic Relief logo, reveal that although Haddad resigned his trusteeship of Islamic Relief worldwide, he subsequently opened a branch of Islamic Relief in Cairo while serving as a Muslim Brotherhood government official and with the support of Brotherhood leaders. According to the newspaper Al-Haram, the Cairo branch was reportedly given approximately 20 million Egyptian pounds, $50,000 in our money, by the parent organization in Britain. Haddad used the Islamic Relief branch in Cairo, reported Al-Yawm Al-Sabi, to finance the Muslim Brotherhood under the guise of being monies destined for charitable purposes. The leaked documents reveal that Islamic Relief Cairo planned to open bank accounts with the British bank HSBC in order to bring in additional funds. In addition, another Egyptian paper, Al-Watan, reported that the Islamic Relief issued requests for Haddad to end his involvement with the Islamic Relief Cairo branch, so as not to draw attention to links between Islamic Relief and Morsi's government. Al-Watan also reported that Ibrahim Zayat, another trustee of the Islamic Relief, was involved in financing the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood. At the same time, the Egyptian State Information Service alleges European Muslim Brotherhood groups were financing the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood by fundraising under the pretext of supporting the Palestinian issue, such as through covers for the international organizations such as the Islamic Relief Organization in Germany, unquote. It is tempting to distrust the claims of prosecutors and journalists in Sisi's Egypt, where the regime is not much less than the Muslim Brotherhood's government it replaced. But as this dossier will show, Islamic Relief is a flagship institution of global Islamism. It was established by the Muslim Brotherhood, and today it remains a key part of the Brotherhood's international infrastructure. Connection can be most clearly seen by examining the Islamist operatives that established Islamic Relief and continue to manage the charity and its many branches today. Wow. I am going to skip over this part of this next section. I'm going to talk about really quickly about who was the main founder, and that is Hani al-Banna. Now, he's supposedly not a relation to Hassan al-Banna. He's had publicly stated it, that is not his relative. But al-Banna has a lot of questionable connections. So I'm just going to get into who he was. Al-Banna was previously a trustee of Muslim Aid, a London-based charity that once admitted to funding two Hamas organizations, in which Bangladeshi organizations have also accused of funding the violent Islamist group Jamaat al-Islami. During the time Al-Banna was involved, Marie-Jules Peterson, an academic at the Danish Institute for Human Rights, writes the Islamic Relief's Bangladeshi branch. There have been rumors that some staff would support the Jamaat al-Islami, privileging Jamaat organizations when selecting partner organizations. In 2017, the Bangladeshi government banned both Islamic Relief and Muslim Aid from providing humanitarian aid to Rohingya refugees, reportedly over concerns that the displaced Muslims would be radicalized. Al-Banna has also established several umbrella groups, of which Islamic Relief has been the leading member. Now get these names: Zakat House, the Humanitarian Forum, Muslim Charities Forum. These organizations have previously shared offices and staff with Islamic Relief. In 2015, the Muslim Charities Forum lost a British government grant of £250,000. That's $320,000 in American money. After the Daily Telegraph exposed this has all happened after the Daily Telegraph exposed the extremist links of the umbrella body's members. The then Communities Secretary, Eric Pickles, told Parliament that the cancellation of the grant illustrates our resolve to cease funding any organization that supports or is linked to individuals who fuel hatred, division, and violence. And I'm going to skip a little farther down. There's just so much in this report. It is outstanding. So, a little farther down it says, while Islamic Relief may claim to have no connection with the Muslim Brotherhood, the evidence in this report clearly demonstrates otherwise. Islamic Relief is one of the most important Muslim Brotherhood institutions in the world. Muhammad Ashmawi himself, in fact, was previously a director of the Islamic Society of North America, which in 2008 American federal prosecutors identified as a key component of the Muslim Brotherhood. And from 1993 to 1998, Ashmawi was president of the Muslim Arab Youth Association, which several U.S. lawmakers later included on a list of organizations that they argued finance terrorism and perpetuate violence. That's a quote from them. Across the globe, it seems, Islamic Relief's most important branches are run by individuals closely connected with local Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamist networks. Now, this is on branches and officials of this section. And this I cannot read this entire section, but I'm just going to read some of the highlights, and they will blow your mind. Islamic Relief USA. IRUSA is a powerful organization incorporated in 1993 in Brenna Park, California. By 2015, it was reporting over $110 million in revenue. Under the Obama administration, IRUSA staff attended White House dinners and had their work profiled on the White House website, while senior administration figures spoke at Islamic Relief events. But while the IRUSA enjoyed access to the highest office in the land, in 2016, agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the IRS, and the Office of Personnel Management, otherwise known as OPM, reportedly began to put together a criminal case relating to Islamic Relief. In 2017, the Middle East Forum submitted requests for documents concerning Islamic Relief under the Freedom of Information Act to the agencies involved. In January 2018, the OPM confirmed the existence of a criminal investigation, stating, quote, "We are withholding the records as they were compiled for law enforcement purposes, and their disclosure could reasonably be expected to interfere with ongoing enforcement proceedings by, for example, suggesting the scope of an investigation and alerting potential subjects as to the nature of the government's evidence and strategy. It is not known whether the criminal investigation related to terror financing, a study of the key personnel involved with IRUSA, however, reveals a long history of staff and officials expressing support for extremism and terror. This goes on. Today, the chairman of IRUSA's board of directors is Khalid Lamada, whom the Egyptian newspaper Al Watan has named as one of several key Muslim Brotherhood operatives active in the United States. Lamada openly wears and promotes Muslim Brotherhood insignia, including the notorious R4BIA, the R4BIA sign, exhibited by Muslim Brotherhood supporters since 2013. Writing and sharing posts, mostly in Arabic, Lamada has circulated texts praising the jihad of the Mujahideen of Egypt for causing the Jews many defeats. He has republished claims on Facebook that praise Hamas for inflicting a huge defeat of the Zionist entity. Further, Lamada has circulated videos that claim the current leader of Egypt, President Sisi, is secretly Jewish and that he opposes the Muslim Brotherhood on the orders of the Jews. The video also claims that Jews are sowing division among Egyptian Muslims by encouraging sexual activity. Lamada's only comment about these anti-Semitic conspiracies is, quote, "I hope this is not true." Quote, Lamada has even disseminated claims that America is controlled by a Zionist lobby which is working to demonize Muslims and plan an invasion of Sudan and the Nile Valley. Wow. This goes on and on. There is more people connected here. Let's talk about this other one. Another former chairman of IRUSA, Mohammed Amir Atawawi, is listed in a 1991 phone directory introduced by federal prosecutors as evidence during the Holy Land trial as the director of the New England Muslim Brotherhood. Atawi was also once the vice president of the Muslim American Society. From 2008 to 2010, he was also listed as director of Islamic Relief Worldwide. In 2011, IRUSA's chairman of the board was Yasser Haddara. While chairman, Haddara traveled to Egypt to meet Assam al-Haddad. By 2013, having left his role at IRUSA, Haddara was working for Mohammed Morsi, Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood leader. This gets pretty detailed. I'm going to skip a little farther down. According to the investigative project on terrorism in 2004, Islamic Relief USA's spokesperson, Ahmed Shama, this is right from him, was slated to speak at an event sponsored by the University of Irvine Muslim Student Union to discuss the martyrdom of Sheikh al-Rantisi, a senior Hamas leader. Abdul Aziz Rantisi was killed by Israeli security forces on April 18, 2004. The event announcement stated that Rantisi was the second of the leaders of Hamas to be martyred in under a month. So please come to educate yourselves about the situation. Nice things that they want to promote. Concern about their... Hello? Hello, can you guys hear me? Did this go... Hello, can you guys hear me? I just realized, has the sound been off? Holy cow. How long? Dang. Just saw that the sound was off. I have been reading and reading. Crap. How long has the sound been off? Oh, boy. Wow. Okay. I just saw that the sound went off and I didn't check. Okay. All right. So, let me just read this last section one more time. Oh, sound has been good. Okay, good. Okay, I was concerned. Okay, so I'll go on. IRUSA's current development coordinator is Saad. Islamic Relief USA's current development coordinator is Saad Hassanin. Hassanin previously served as a senior representative of the Islamic Services Foundation, an educational organization led by several prominent Muslim Brotherhood leaders, including Ghassan Hito, the Muslim Brotherhood's candidate for Prime Minister of the interim Syrian government, and Nabil Sadoun, who has since been deported after the U.S. government declared that he had ties to terrorist groups in the Middle East. IRUSA has been linked to extremist operatives from its very start. Its incorporation documents list is its registered agent as Kazbek Zubzakov, the former attorney for terror operative Wagdi Ghonaim, a prominent anti-Semitic preacher and fundraiser for the terrorist group Hamas. In 2009, the Egyptian newspaper Al-Masri Al-Yum reported that Mr. Ghonaim was included on a list held by the Egyptian authorities naming the 90 leaders of the International Organization of the Muslim Brotherhood. In 2014, Interpol issued a red notice for Ghonaim after Egyptian authorities charged him with participating with others in crimes of violence and murder and unlawful detention and torture. Ghonaim is reported to be a close friend of Mohammed Ashmawi, the recent chief executive of Islamic Relief Worldwide. Today, other IRUSA officials and employees include Azhar Aziz, who is also president of the Islamic Society of North America, ISNA, which federal prosecutors named as an unindicted co-conspirator during the 2008 Holy Land Foundation terror financing trial, and Hamdi Radwan, who described the terror group Hamas, a Muslim Brotherhood affiliate, as freedom fighters. El-Watan has also named Hamdi Radwan as a Muslim Brotherhood operative. Wow. And if you think that's the key, that's the tip of the iceberg, they go farther. Middle East Forum did such an outstanding job. They didn't just look at IRUSA. Again, this is an expose of Islamic Relief entirely. So let's talk about Canada. So, Kel, pay attention. This is about Islamic Relief Canada. It's a short section, and I'm just going to read the whole thing. Yasser Hadara, the director 2005 to 2011, is a former director of Islamic Relief USA and president of the Muslim Association of Canada. In 2011 and 2012, he and his brother, Wael, traveled to Egypt and met with Assam al-Haddad. Just like Haddad, the Hadara brothers decided to help the Muslim Brotherhood obtain power in Egypt. By 2012, both Yasser and Wael were reportedly senior advisors to Morsi, Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood president. Both Yasser and Wael also served as board members of the Muslim Association of Canada, MAC. According to the Toronto Sun, MAC has expressed open support for Hamas's ideological forebears, the Muslim Brotherhood, which Egypt considers a terrorist organization. Older versions of MAC, the Muslim Association of Canada, website lists the Muslim Brotherhood's founder, Hassan al-Banna, as a major influence. Back in 2000 and 2002, Wael Hadara had served as a director of Irfan Canada, which the Canadian government later shut down after finding that it transferred approximately $14.6 million worth of resources to various organizations associated with Hamas, a designated terror organization under Canadian law. Canadian law enforcement further revealed that MAC, of which both Hadara brothers were directors, provided $296,514 between 2001 and 2010 to Irfan Canada. Islamic Relief Canada's other staff and directors expressed open admiration for the Muslim Brotherhood. Dr. Al-Tawi Atia, for instance, is also the director of Masjid Toronto, at which the Muslim Association of Canada is based. The National Post reports that at these institutions, Atia has unabashedly stated, "Here we follow the teachings of the Muslim Brotherhood." Atia's Facebook page is adorned with posters urging the release of Khalid al-Qazaz, who was previously the Foreign Relations Secretary for Egypt's President Mohamed Morsi. The Twitter account belonging to the current Islamic Relief Canada CEO, Zaid al-Rani, includes several posts in support of the Muslim Brotherhood and retweets statements by senior Brotherhood figures. Now, there are sections here on Islamic Relief Germany, and I'm going to skip to the section on Islamic Relief Sweden. The director of Islamic Relief Sweden, Abdallah Saleh, is frequently pictured brandishing Muslim Brotherhood symbols. On social media, Saleh has circulated conspiracy claims that wealthy Jews control the world economy, were behind the global financial crisis in 2007, killed the U.S. President J.F. Kennedy, and gave Hitler money to burn the Jews in order to gain Palestine with the sympathy of the world. According to a recent Swedish government report, Islamic Relief is a key organization in providing credibility to the Muslim Brotherhood. The report noted that Brotherhood official Haytham Rama has long been involved with Islamic Relief Sweden and notes that Rama has been involved in supporting militia links to the Muslim Brotherhood in the Syrian conflict throughout lobbying and weapons purchases. In fact, Sveriges Radio revealed that Rama was one of the rebels' key weapons suppliers and that he has been bringing arms into the civil war-torn country for the last 18 months. This goes on and on. I'm just going to do a few more here. This is just, I got to take a little breather for a second. Islamic Relief Australia. In the Far East and South Asia, one of the Islamic Relief's best-known officials is Fadlullah Wilmot, who has served in leadership roles at Islamic Relief branches in Pakistan and Afghanistan and is now a senior official at Islamic Relief Australia. In a report on radical Islamic ideology in Southeast Asia, published by the United States Military Academy at West Point, the authors identify a book written by Wilmot titled Islamic Movement Now as a key Islamist text behind the growth of radical Islam in Malaysia. The authors explain that Wilmot's book explores the rise of the call to return to Islam and make it the basis of Muslim activities, using the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and the Islamic group in India as its examples. In a candid interview with Berkeley Center at Georgetown University, Wilmot admits that while living in Indonesia, he formed a friendship with the leader of the independence struggle there, Muhammad Dawood Barua was hardly a freedom fighter. He was a leader of Darul Islam, which the Council on Foreign Relations describes as a violent, radical movement for the establishment of Islamic law in Indonesia. Darul Islam members have gone on to form some of Southeast Asia's most prominent jihadist organizations. The last message left by one of the suicide bombers behind the infamous 2002 Bali attack called upon Muslims to shed your blood so you will not be ashamed to face Allah. You who acknowledge yourselves to be children. I'm just not going to finish that one. This goes on and on and on. But here's one I do want to not miss. Islamic Relief Palestine. In the Palestinian territories, Islamic Relief officials have been directly tied to Hamas. In 2006, Israeli police arrested Ayaz Ali, the coordinator for Islamic Relief in Gaza. According to the Israeli government, Ali admitted to cooperating with Hamas operatives in Jordan. Furthermore, here's the quote, incriminating files were found on Ali's computer, including documents that attested to the organization's ties with illegal Hamas funds abroad in the UK and Saudi Arabia. In Nablus, Also found were photographs of swastikas superimposed on IDF symbols, of senior Nazi Germany officials, of Osama bin Laden and Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, as well as many photographs of Hamas military activities. Ali admitted that he was aware several of the organizations supported by the IRW in Judea, Samaria, and Gaza were indeed identified with Hamas. Islamic Relief Palestine staff express violently anti-Semitic rhetoric. Mali Turk, an Islamic Relief official, once featured in BBC Puff Piece, has posted on his social media accounts, quote, "I ask God to paralyze the pillars of the Jews and cut their legs and paralyze their hands as well." Here's another one. "O Muslim, O servant of Allah, behind me a Jew, come and kill him." Right straight from the Quran, people. Muhammad Alawiya, I think Alaiwa, however you would say, Al-Iwa, the Gaza-based logistics coordinator for Islamic Relief, has posted pictures of Hamas founder Ahmed Yassin, writing, "This is a picture of a man with a weak body, yet he is strong in courage and determination. The founder of the Islamic organization Hamas, who has placed Jewish noses in the dirt." Islamic Relief Palestine also shares employees with a Hamas-linked charity named Unlimited Friends Association, which regularly hosts events in Gaza with money raised in America to benefit the families of martyrs and prisoners. That's what a lot of this money goes to. It goes to support their payments for martyrs. Holy cow. How can we consider, if it's not going directly for that purpose, it allows Hamas and the Palestinian organization to pay for those martyrs by providing funds for the government that would not have existed otherwise. And that's something that has to be talked about. So when they claim the money doesn't go directly to them, if this organization was taking care of things, I'm just mind blown. I'm going to read a small section here on a piece on government support. Islamic Relief enjoys financial support from governments and politicians around the world. In the United States, Islamic Relief officials enjoyed close relations with the White House under the Obama administration. It has also received strong support from senior lawmakers and continues to wield influence over government departments. In 2012, former IRUSA CEO Abed Ayoub was appointed as an official advisor to the State Department and the U.S. Agency, USAID, U.S. Agency for International Development. By 2016, the new CEO of Islamic Relief USA, Anwar Khan, also became a government advisor. In October that year, Islamic Relief hosted an Islamic Relief Partnership Gala for the State Department, at which the U.S. government's envoy to the Organization of Islamic Cooperation praised the government's participation with Khan and Islamic Relief, describing one Islamic Relief staff member as his colleague. Under the Trump administration, Khan continues to serve on USAID's Advisory Committee on Voluntary Foreign Aid. And the Department for Agriculture currently describes Islamic Relief as a partner. This is insane, people. Islamic Relief also works closely with legislators. In September 2017, a proposed amendment to a congressional bill barring federal grants to Islamic Relief was dropped when the sponsoring congressman rushed back to Florida to deal with the threat of Hurricane Irma. Nevertheless, before the vote was due to take place, Islamic Relief quickly mobilized. The Islamist charity turned to Congressman Keith Ellison, the deputy chair of the Democratic National Committee. Ellison, who has a long history of involvement with Islamist causes, wrote to all members of the House of Representatives urging them to vote against the amendment and stating at odds with claim by European government officials, the British media, and the Emirati government that IRW has never been affiliated with Hamas or the Muslim Brotherhood. What a lie. Close involvement with lawmakers and senior government officials has paid off. Islamic Relief Worldwide claims to have been awarded U.S. government grants totaling $704,662 by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And you say, wow. This goes on to describe monies from other governments, and it is mind-numbing. Now I'm going to skip to the section on. Wow, we're at 6:43. I didn't realize we'd gotten this far. This is just mind-numbing. The section on terror finance I would read as a whole, but I am running out of time, unfortunately. I do want to get to the news. I'm telling you, people, you have to read this report. I've already told you I've shown you where to find it. Go to the Middle East Forum. Look for their report on Islamic relief, charity, extremism, terrorism. Write to them. Thank them. Praise them for this great work because it needs to be done. It needs to be done today, people. Thank you. Wow. Whew. That report is huge. And today I'm going to read a piece on the end of Ramadan by Leo Holman. Leo Holman's been on the show before, and he's the one who shared the Middle East article with me, Middle East Forum's article with me. And I have a selfish reason for mentioning Leo Holman's article. That simply is because Leo Holman mentions this show in his article. He mentions this last week's show in his article. Unfortunately, I cannot read the entire article, but I am going to get to this section here. He in his article entitled "Ramadan Draws to a Bloody Close as Western Universities, Media, even some churches give Islam a high five." In his article, he has a section titled "The Art of Deception." But I'm just going straight to the section that I don't think I can read all that. Okay. The Art of Deception. It starts out, but interfaith dialogue is nothing more than Islamic trickery designed to neutralize Islam's natural spiritual counterparts, Judaism and Christianity. Once Islam gains sufficient numbers, it is no longer interested in dialoguing with Jews and Christians. It only seeks to subjugate them. This can be seen in the example of Islam's founder, Muhammad, who offered peace to Christians and Jews of the Arabian Peninsula while he was weak, only to launch bloody conquest of their communities after he gained converts and built up his armies. Nations through the Middle East, such as Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and Egypt, have all gone from majority Christian in the 8th century to 90% or more Muslim today. What happened to all the Christians? They've all been forced to convert to Islam, flee, and live as a second-class citizen. Oh, wait a minute, we didn't talk about the death here. What happened to them? Many of them were killed. Because 98% of humans on the planet are what Islam scholar and former Iraqi Muslim IQ al-Rasuli calls Quran and Hadith ignorant. They are easily deceived by Muslim leaders, calls for interfaith dialogue and peace in the early stages of an Islamic settlement. Rasuli uses a pseudonym because of the many death threats he has received since leaving Islam. The penalty for apostasy under Sharia is death. And even in the West, a Muslim who leaves the faith can expect to experience threats, intimidation, and violent reprisals. Rasuli says every American should read and digest at least the guts of the Quran, which are found in the first 9 chapters. First on the list of Quranic concepts that Westerners must learn is the Quran allows Muslims to deceive when they are living in a non-Muslim society. This deception is called taqiyya, which is part of the law of necessity. And then he has a citation to the show. So if last week's show is being cited on Leo Holman's article. He goes on, according to Quran 3:54, Allah himself is a great deceiver. It says Allah is the best of deceivers. See also Quran 8:30 and 7:99. You don't have to read the whole Quran, but read these chapters. And if you come to any conclusion opposite mine, you should be put in a mental hospital, Rasuli bluntly stated in a June 13 interview with Paul Sutliff. Quran 5:51 says, O believers, take neither Jews nor Christians as your protecting friends. They are only protecting friends of one another. Whoever of you disobeys the commandment will be counted as one of them. There is one exception to this rule, however. If you're a Muslim believer, fear a danger from the disbelievers, you may pretend to be a friend of the disbelievers. Al-Bukhari, compiler of the most respected Hadith collection, recorded that Abu Abd Darda, a companion and pupil of Muhammad, said, "We smile in the face of some people, although our hearts curse them." Al-Bukhari said that Al-Hassan said, "The tuqya, or taqiyya, deception on behalf of Islam, is allowed until the day of resurrection. We smile in the face of some people, although our hearts curse them." Leo Holman continues, "Our schools, universities, and churches would be wise to keep this in mind in their dealings with groups like the Saudi Student Club, the Muslim Student Association, the Council on American Islamic Relations, and every other Islamic organization now waging cultural jihad against the institutions that undergird Western civilization. This deception also applies to these groups' alleged allegiance to the U.S. Constitution," says Rasuli. "When a devout Muslim tells you he is loyal to the Constitution, he is exercising taqiyya because he knows it is man-made, not from Allah." Rasuli added that for the U.S. government to allow large numbers of devout Sharia-compliant Muslims to emigrate into the United States is criminal negligence bordering on treason. And that is the reason that's my first article. We got cited. That was exciting. Wow. Going on to the other news in the United States. Woman accused of trying to recruit Islamic State supporters for terror attacks denied bond. This is in the New York Daily News. In Milwaukee, a Wisconsin woman accused of trying to plan terror attacks on social media leads a lonely life and sought companionship online, but she never posed a real threat, her attorney told a judge Friday. The federal magistrate, Judge Nancy Joseph, said the allegations against 45-year-old Wahiba Issa Dice were concerning enough that she must be held without bond pending her trial. Prosecutors allege the mother of 7 tried to recruit people to carry out attacks for the Islamic State and provided them with information on how to make explosives and poisons. The FBI said its investigation found that Dice used hacked social media accounts to discuss possible attacks with self-proclaimed members of the Islamic State, but that authorities have not connected her to any attack plots. Dice was arrested Wednesday in suburban Milwaukee. She faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted. They're catching people now. Wow. Oh, now I love this one, and this one was just talked about in our chat room. The Investigative Project on Terrorism released this one, and everybody can scream and cheer. SPLC agrees to a $3.4 million settlement for smearing Majid Nawaz. A nonprofit organization devoted to fighting hate and extremism has agreed to pay nearly $3.4 million to another nonprofit organization devoted to fighting hate and extremism. The SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, which made a name for itself suing the Ku Klux Klan, admitted Monday that it incorrectly included Muslim reformer and Quilliam Foundation co-founder Majid Nawaz in a 2016 field guide to anti-Muslim extremists. Since we published the field guide, okay, I want you to listen to this quote. Anybody want to comment on this quote? Call in. That number again, I want to give you that number. That number again is 319-527-6706. Anybody want to call in and comment on this? Please do. I'm going to read this quote, and I'll hope somebody calls in. This quote just makes me angry. This is from the Southern Poverty Law Center. Since we published the field guide, we have taken time to do more research, SPLC President Richard Cohen said in a video apology. Though that post-publication research, through that post-publication research, SPLC learned that Mr. Nawaz and Quillian have made valuable and important contributions to public discourse, including by promoting pluralism and condemning both anti-Muslim bigotry and Islamist extremism. So here's my problem, and if anybody wants to call on. Okay, so is this implying they didn't do any research ahead of time before including him? Yes! So they admit that they do no research before they name names. This is a disgusting, despicable piece of hatred. There is nothing else that can be said. Unfreaking believable. Wow. I have a problem when people do publish things without stating, without doing any research. I spend tons of time doing research. I don't know how you can do that. The settlement amount is striking given Nawaz's status as a public figure. He's a radio host in London, the author of a best-selling autobiography about his evolution from radical Islamist to liberal reformer, and he is a frequent guest on cable news programs discussing radicalization and Quilliam's programs to counter it. In addition to the money, SPLC's published a retraction, and President Richard Cohen issued a video apology field guide, which was offered as a journalist's manual aimed to silence voices critical of Islam, its political manifestations, and terrorism carried out in the religion's name. It also named Investigative Project on Terrorism Executive Director Stephen Emerson and ex-Muslim Ayan Hirsi Ali. The SPLC removed it from its website in April. The original report said Nawaz wanted to ban women from wearing the niqab or veils in public, but Nawaz argued it misrepresented his views, which he spelled out in 2013. It's our duty to insist individuals remove the veil when they enter identity-sensitive environments such as banks, airports, courts, and schools. Here's my test. Where a baklava, motorcycle helmet, or face mask would be deemed inappropriate, so should a niqab. It's simply real. It's simple, really. The report contained no statement Nawaz made that could be seen as anti-Muslim. It did mention his bachelor party visit to a strip club. Ironically, it claimed Nawaz is far more interested in self-promotion and money than in any particular ideological dispute. The report was revised subsequently, but still failed to deliver evidence that a Muslim man who once served years in prison in Egypt for his work with the radical Hizb al-Tahrir was an anti-Muslim. During a 2017 appearance at Duke University, SPLC's Heidi Bierich claimed that Nawaz belonged on the anti-Muslim extremist list because he advocated for mass surveillance of mosques. Nawaz angrily denied this and demanded Bierich retract the statement. Monday's apology does not specifically mention that error. So that's my excitement here. I don't care if anything is there, but they openly admitted they did no research. Wow. But here we go. Yes, and SPLC is part of the reason for the change of this network. The hilarious part of the name, I think the name is more appropriate today, though. Global Patriot Radio in many ways describes who we really are. We're simply patriots. Here's another article. This is covered by Jihad Watch. A man dies after brutal beating by Muslim migrant mob in Lewiston Park. Last week, I read about the mob attack. The gentleman who was attacked by the Saudis, the Somalian Muslim mob, and I don't know what they're doing to stop these kids, because they talked about this as being a mob, brutal, and they almost talked about it originally as being like a young gang. But the fact that there are Somalians running around beating people so bad that they die in Lewiston, in Maine, in Lewiston Park, Maine, unfreaking believable. Going on, another Jihad Watch article. This is Canada. Now, that was the last of my U.S. articles. And this is the only Canada article I have on news. Muslim MP falsely claims conservatives forced him to miss Muslim Holy Day for crucial parliamentary vote. This was published June 16th by Christine Douglas Williams, one of my favorite writers. For weeks, the Liberals refused to disclose the cost of their carbon tax plans. So the opposition Conservatives decided to launch a filibuster in the House of Commons, vowing to keep Liberal MPs voting for up to 30 straight hours. As it turns out, the marathon voting session wrapped up after roughly 12 hours. And still without needed answers. The issue is critical. Main estimates are the breakdown of how the government plans to spend the money, outlined in its annual budget. As a bill relating to money matters, any vote on it is considered a matter of confidence. A loss could trigger an election. Despite how critical the matter is, Member of Parliament Omar Al-Abra decided that his Muslim privilege mattered most in the midst of this important session, of which his own government was in neglect over. He decided to tweet out his grumblings in advance. And he tweets out that he basically, didn't get to go home, and that's his issue. Well, because he's Muslim, he should have special privileges. Well, the filibuster had nothing to do with partisanship. Al-Ghavrab's accusations, however, had everything to do with identity politics and his own personal agenda. He was president of the Canadian Arab Federation and stated that he did not believe that Hamas, a Muslim Brotherhood proxy group, or Islamic Jihad were terrorist groups. Also, so he's denying Canadian government as a Canadian government official. Do we call that treasonous? He's making statements. We have a problem here, people. He's basically denying, he's standing against the Canadian government while he is a Canadian government official. Somebody needs to talk to him about what the legalities are in doing that. Or somebody needs to actually do something about it. This guy made so many false accusations. I'm just disgusted with this guy. I don't understand why Canada does not take a stand and do what's right. They got to get rid of their junior high school leader. It's like they went back and hired a junior high kid to lead the group, to lead the country. He's not a very mature he's not a very mature person, Trudeau. I don't know what else to call him besides junior high. Probably the best way that's what we should call him. Anybody want to refer to Trudeau? Let's call him Junior High. Junior High Canada. Sorry. The Junior High Premier. All right. We're into England now. The UK. London. This is from Breitbart. Jack Montgomery on June 19th. London. Several injured in small explosion at Southgate tube station. Now, I got this and I was looking at it, and I am unaware if anybody's heard anything more. I do know there was a minor explosion on the Southgate station of London underground. Paramedics treated 5 people at the scene. This is at 7 p.m. on the June 19th. So it says there's an update. Explosion caused by battery fault. An exploding power drill battery caused panic. I put this out, and I just don't know if there was enough information. But I'm just seeing now that there is an update, and they're saying it's a battery. I don't know. Yeah. Kel, you're right. Will Canada do something with the junior high guy? They're wow. So going on. Another UK. Islamic State Iraqi militant. Okay, let's get this. There's another thing on the tube. Islamic State Iraqi migrant tube bomber was on verge of being given de-radicalization. Attention to who is involved here. And this is from, again, Breitbart. It's by Liam Deacon, published today. An illegal migrant from Iraq was set to be given the all clear by the government's de-radicalization program shortly before he planted a bomb on a London tube at Parsons Green. My question: he was about to be given the de-radicalization all clear. Who is that from? Who is the de-radicalization group? Is this the group we just mentioned, Quilliam? I don't see anything on that. After entering the UK in a lorry from France in October 2015, the future terrorist openly told the authorities in January 2016 he had been trained to kill by the Islamic State. In March of 2018, he was convicted of the attempted murder of 93 people on the London Underground train and jailed for a minimum of 34 years. What are you, stupid, UK? This man needs a life sentence or an execution or deportation, but not less than that. The problem is that this man was just about to get the all clear. The question is, who was going to give it to him? That's what needs to be discussed. I mean, really, who was responsible for saying this man was safe to be around? Another article by Jihad Watch in the UK. Knife-wielding Muslima chases children down, screaming, "I want to kill all you Jews." This came out June 17th. The news report doesn't say so, but the woman in question here was a Muslim, according to Behind the News Stand with Israel on Facebook. Now, I read both pieces, and there is no other reason she would say these things. The article says this: a female suspect was arrested on Sunday after she ran after children with a knife while shouting, "I want to kill all you Jews." The suspect was arrested after police were alerted to the incident by the Shamrim organization. According to police reports released several months ago, blah, blah, blah. There's just not enough information here, but what I liked about Jihad Watch sharing this is that they're not. What they're showing is the British police are not telling the truth, and the British media are not reporting the truth in this. And that's the sad fact that's happening. Another article for the UK. This one comes from the Metro. It's the man caught on CCTV ripping a cross off a woman's front door while delivering curry. This is by Tanvir Mann. This came out Saturday, June 16th. Now, if you go to this article, if you go to the metro.co.uk and you look up man caught on CCTV ripping off woman's cross off woman's door while delivering curry, this guy gets nothing happens to him. All right? They can see his face. They can probably quite clearly. But is anything happening to him? I mean, why is he allowed to do this, and why is this not considered an action of hatred? We can't do this. We can't go up to a Muslim place and drop a piece of bacon in the UK. They would call that hate, an expression of hate. But yet tearing down a cross is not an expression of hate? I have some issues here. Something's got to change. Here we go. On church leaders backing bid for new city mosque. Now that I've read those things, you've got to ask yourself what's going on. What's going on in the UK? Well, civilization, jihad, and Islamization are so rampant in the UK, the church leaders are now wusses. They are not even real Christians. You can tell from what they're saying. These people are what we call dhimmis. They're subservience to Islam. Now, truth of the matter is that this article, the people are, they're calling this a church. I don't think they should call this a church. They should call it a social gathering. And this is by Rob George. It's from the Worcester Observer, WORCESTER observer.co.uk. Church leaders backing bid for new city mosque. Church leaders across Worcester have lent their support to an ambitious £3 million Worcester Muslim Welfare Association bid to build a new mosque in the heart of the city. Members of the Church of England clergy in Worcester East Deanery backed the bid for a temporary building on Stanley Road in a letter to Association General Secretary Muhammad Iqbal. Reverend Paul Hannibal and Reverend Kalantha Brewis attended the interfaith iftar at the mosque. It tells you right there. They don't know anything about Christianity. They don't follow the Bible. They don't. This is just sick. Yes, thank you, Kel, for posting that picture. The guy, that video did show, you look, and you can see clearly the guy is ripping it off. He's trying to be discreet. That ripping the cross off, and the question is, why has nothing happened? Well, because a Muslim created this crime, and that's what the Muslims are getting special protection in the UK, and that needs to stop for the safety of all my relatives in England, which my family came over here 400 years ago. I'd like to be able to say when I want to go visit, and see where my heritage is from someday. I'd like there to still be a UK. I don't believe it's going to be there in a few more years. Another Breitbart article by Virginia Hale. This was published on June 19th. North African migrant arrested after sexually assaulting 6 children. A Moroccan man has been arrested after 6 children. Sorry, this is not in the UK. This is in Spain. Moroccan man has been arrested after 6 children were followed home and sexually assaulted on their own doorsteps in Alicante, Spain. National police officers detained the 24-year-old last week in Elche on suspicion of committing 7 crimes against sexual freedom, 6 of which were against children, reported El Mundo. The Specialized and Violent Crime Unit of Alicante police said the man, who is set to appear in court Saturday, is accused of 5 counts of sexual assault and 2 of sexual abuse, a lesser charge than assault, which is used in cases where violence was not involved. An investigation opened on May 30th last year when police received 2 complaints of sexual assault in a neighborhood of Alicante a few hours apart on the same day. The man is alleged to have followed the victims to the doorway of their homes before violently assaulting them in order to touch their private parts, according to the local media. Detectives realized they were likely dealing with a serial sex offender after a new attacker with the same modus operandi was reported to police at the end of last year. Though the suspect moved his area of operation to different neighborhoods of Alicante in the months that followed, police were able to track him down after 4 further reports of sexual assaults, which fit the pattern of the accused. After following a number of leads, investigators were able to identify the Moroccan migrant as the likely perpetrator and proceeded to set up surveillance devices in an area where the attacks were reported. Earlier this month, before arresting him on Wednesday last week. Earlier this month, Spain's new socialist government unveiled a raft of pro-open borders measures, including extending universal health care to illegal migrants. So Spain is saying, hey, we want to go back to being owned by the Muslims. Is that what they're doing? I don't get it. I don't get it. Have they forgotten? Insane. Maybe that's why they were conquered the first time. They weren't strong enough. Okay. This next one comes from Haaretz. This is an article on Germany. Germany thwarts Islamic extremist chemical attack. Now, when I read this, I was kind of in shock, seeing that I didn't see it other places. So this is also it's also put out by the Associated Press, and it kind of surprised me. I never heard it anyplace else. But Germany thwarts Islamic extremist chemical attack. Again, this came out June 14th. German prosecutors say they've thwarted an Islamic extremist plot to launch an attack with a deadly toxin ricin. Federal prosecutors said Thursday a 29-year-old Tunisian, identified only as Sif Alaa, Al-H, who was arrested Wednesday, started procuring material online, including seeds needed for the creation of ricin in mid-May. They say he succeeded in creating the They say he created and he succeeded in creating the toxin this month, and investigators found it in a search of his Cologne apartment. They're still investigating exactly how the suspect planned to use the toxin, but said he was working on an attack in Germany. Prosecutors said they currently have no evidence of a connection with any extremist organization. They did not immediately comment on a Bild newspaper report that American intelligence tipped off German investigators. Wow. Going back, now we are into France. Now, at the end of Ramadan, France had a problem this year, and this article exposes that problem that they had. This is Breitbart article by Chris Tomlinson, June 17th. Outrage as 1,000 Muslims pray in French street following of Ramadan. 1,000 Muslims in the southern French city of Nice took to the street to pray on Friday following the end of Islamic month of Ramadan in defiance of the country's laws. The open-air prayer, which took place at around 6 a.m. at the Ariane Quarter of Nice, was condemned by Mayor Christian Estrosi of the Conservative Republicans, who took to Twitter to post a picture of the incident. In two separate posts, Mayor Estrosi slammed the street prayer, saying, "I condemn with the utmost firmness the street prayer, which have been held at the Ariane since 6 a.m. this morning. The laws of the Republic must be respected everywhere." Estrosi noted that the group had used loudspeakers to attract worshippers to the area and said, "Even if Eid al-Fitr is an important moment for Muslims, nothing can justify street prayers and thus disturb public order." Breitbart London spoke to Philippe Vardon, vice president of the province Alpes-Côte, and he slammed both the worshippers and Mayor Estrosi, who he said constantly works with the union, with the Islamic Union, and claims they were behind the incident. So he's blaming the mayor as well. My question is, if you're mayor, where were your police? Why didn't you do something about this when it started? I mean, remember, you are the mayor, right? Can't you order and call for assistance if your local police can't handle it? Why didn't you do something? Stop being a wimp. Stand up and do what's right. That's what it comes down to. And wow, I want to say thank you for the people in the chat room. I know it's been a while. I want to say thank you for Bob. So we have Bob Evers, who was one of the first ones in today. Bigfoot, Doc DLB, Gary Comfort, Golf Dogs, Cal, Robin Duffy was also one of the first ones in, and Vorpal was one of the first ones in. I want to say thank you to all of you for being, for listening, and I want to tell you there are other shows to listen to. Don't forget, my show will not be here next Wednesday. It is moving to Thursday. So when you come back and you're looking for the Civilization Jihad Awareness with Paul Sutliff, you're going to find it listed on Thursdays. And come and listen. I have a big surprise next week. Come and listen. We're going to be talking about Russia next week. And how does that relate to Civilization Jihad? You just wait and see. This is a mind blower, and I've got one of the authors of a major article published through the Center for Security Policy willing to join me next week, and I am excited. Wow. Okay, so here we go. Swiss court. This is the next article. Swiss court convicts Islamic group officials for jihadist film. Now, I want you to listen to this title, Islamic group official for jihadist film. This is published June 16th by AFP, also known as the local.ch. Now, remember, they said this guy is convicted. All they're saying is that that is puff. it's not the entire truth. And this is what tells you that the Swiss are soon to be done. Why? We just listen to this one. A Swiss court on Friday slapped a 20-month suspended sentence on an official of a prominent Islamic group for alleged production and distribution of jihadist propaganda, but acquitted its leader. So they convicted him, but let him go. Where is the sanity in this? Again, Switzerland is gone soon. Denmark, Switzerland, Sweden, they're all going to be gone. They're all going to be Islamic republics very soon. Why? Because they're so good at being dhimmis, they don't know how to stand on their own 2 feet. I tell them to be good Americans and stand up, but apparently they don't have the idea of what it means to stand up for their country and do what's right. Apparently it's good for people in Switzerland to let jihadists go free and promote jihadist material. That is what's happening in Switzerland. Let me finish the article. The 3 Islamic Central Council of Switzerland suspects included the group's head, Nicolas Blanco, and spokesman Qasim Il, who were both acquitted. But German national Aim Czerny, the head of the council's culture production department, was sentenced. He traveled to Syria in 2015, made films there with a known Islamist leader, Abdallah I'm not remembering that name, of the Jihad umbrella organization Jaish al-Fath, Army of Conquest. The films, which prosecutors say amounted to jihadist propaganda, were promoted via social media and public event by Blanco, Ili, and Czerny. Blanco, who converted to Islam at age 16, has in the past denied being tied to extremism, but has staked out positions considered more radical than other Muslim leaders in Switzerland. The ICCS previously said that the video Czerny made in Syria has nothing to do with al-Qaeda and were intended to raise awareness among Muslims about the conflicts in the country. So, you can get away with this. Remember, a suspended sentence. So nothing happened. The Swiss don't have the balls that they need to stand up and keep their country for themselves. Going on, Australia. Wow, there's a lot of news this week. Australia. There's a couple here on Australia. I think I have a couple. Let me see if I put them out of order while I'm saying that. I read a few on Australia, and it looks like I have to go looking for that other one. But is that the last one there? Nope. Okay. Australia. Muslim, this is from Jihad Watch. Muslim arrested for plotting jihad massacre in Bangladesh. June 17, 2018. Police allege that Amin was stopped from traveling to Bangladesh at Sydney Airport in February 2016 after Border Force officers found items, clothing, and extremist materials in electronic devices in his luggage, indicating that he may be traveling overseas to engage in terrorist activities. He's identified in this story as a man from Sydney, but that was just his location. There is no indication whatsoever that he actually held any Australian values or considered himself Australian. But Australian authorities refuse to ponder the implications of this fact, and in that they are, of course, not alone. Why? Why should we even? I mean, this is what it comes down to. They're not paying attention. They're not protecting their own citizens by not asking these questions. Here's their article, and it was published in Epoch Times on June 17th. A 26-year-old man from Sydney, who we know is Muslim, has been charged with terrorism-related offenses after he allegedly tried to travel overseas to possibly carry out terrorist attacks outside Australia in 2016. Now listen to his name. This is why we know he's Muslim. Noraz Amin was arrested from his southwestern Sydney home on June 16 following a lengthy joint investigation by a number of law enforcement agencies, including the Australian Federal Police, the New South Wales Police, that was triggered after extremist materials were found in the man's possession. Police allege that Amin was stopped from traveling to Bangladesh at Sydney Airport in February 2016 after they found the items. They're saying clothing and extremist material. So I'm curious what they mean by the clothing. What is this? Clothing. Are we talking about a bulletproof vest? They're not. They're trying to hide a lot of information in this article. The police did not tell the whole story here. Now, going back to June 16th, this comes from Reuters. Now, I'm one of those people who tend to call Ramadan Bamathon. Ramadan, it's time for that they kill people. Why do I say that? Well, just look at Religion of Peace. You will see Religion of Peace. I think it's a .net or .org, and you will see how many Muslims and how many others have been killed by Muslims. We're talking about over 500 this past month were killed thanks to Ramadan, Muslims celebrating. Here's one. On Eid, the day after Ramadan. Afghanistan Eid car bomb claimed by Islamic State kills 26. Kabul. A car bomb killed at least 26 people at a gathering of Taliban and Afghan armed forces in the eastern city of Nangarhar on Saturday. An official said as soldiers and militants celebrated an unprecedented Eid ceasefire. An Afghan man mourns. Islamic State claimed responsibility. The group's Amaq news agency said the target was a gathering of Afghan forces but gave no details. The Taliban has already denied involvement. Dozens of unarmed Taliban militants had earlier entered Afghan capital and other cities to celebrate the end of Ramadan fasting season. Soldiers and militants exchanged hugs and took selfies on their smartphones. Atullah Kagyani, spokesperson for the province governor, confirmed a car bomb which was responsible for the blast of the town. This is it's a disaster, people. This stuff should not be happening. Why is this happening? They are following. I don't want to get into. I better not get into it. I will never finish in time. Let me just say, I'm going to be talking about why is this stuff happening? Where does this doctrine come from? I'm going to be spending a show very soon on this, and it's just mind-numbing where you learn that all of this, or the central, where the idea for all this stuff comes from. It is in the Quran, but there are other more recent theologians that are highly promoting it. Among them, Sayyid Qutb, and you're going to learn some stuff from what he has said, and I will be working on sharing that. Well, I want to say thank you for joining me. It has been a good show. I got to share my kudos with you guys, and I just want to say don't forget to come back and listen. Tomorrow we have the forum show, but remember next week Thursday is our slot. Friday, we have Dr. Carl Goldberg on the logic of Islam. Saturday, we have Usama Dakdok, and you got to listen to this man. It's full of a fountain of knowledge. Sunday, we have Eric of Kafiristan. You've got to listen to this gentleman. He's doing an amazing job, and he's able to connect with the average person and to share the truth. And that's just all important. Come back Monday, you'll listen to Alan Vito, the Radio Man, and they have a show, Mamma Mia No Sharia. Tuesday, you have Kel Fritzy, the beautiful Kel Fritzy, and Infidels Are Watching. And Wednesday, we'll have the forum, and then come back Thursday, and I will be here.